Like, I want to make enough money so my girl doesn't have to work.
See, that's like, that's
So,
kind of sweet.
but what is the reason for like, why wouldn't you want someone to have like their own stance on something? Like, why would you want someone not to be argumentative?
Because
like, what is that?
so a lot of men, and especially with my work, so my work's very challenging. I'm not even just talking about the podcast. Most of the stress related to this show is actually stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Andrew can actually attest to this. Recently, we're not going to talk about it, but some like, just, there's always bogus nonsense going on behind the scenes. Andrew, do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, just like major headache stuff. And so I'm already out in the world trying to combat with the world through my career, through my job. I don't want to have to contend with my partner. I want my partner to be peace, to bring me peace. And actually, like, I don't want to like get into debates and argue with girls, even though it's kind of like what I do on this podcast. If I'm dating somebody, I'm not arguing. I just want it to be chill. I don't like to argue any of that stuff.
But who's conceding then? Because I feel like
conceding?
someone's compromising then in that situation.
Yeah, that's well, so I actually will agree with you here and give you an olive branch. I do think that there would be a concession, and that is submission of the woman.
That's where I disagree then.
Yeah, what's wrong with a woman submitting to a man?
I just don't like. I understand like there can be scenarios like there are scenarios like, you know, intimacy and stuff like that. There are scenarios where like that can be a thing, but like I don't know why like it wouldn't be valued, like an opinion on like, say like you said, like a debate on something like what fruit is like. I don't know. You can't really debate on fruit because that's like objective, but like something that is subjective.
But even a thing which is subjective. So from the context that I'm looking at it at, I don't believe that there's any two consciousness which exist. Consciousnesses. It's a joke. Kidding. Trying to lighten the mood. I don't think that there's ever going to be two people who come into contact where one doesn't ultimately end up dominating the other to some degree. I don't even believe that that's possible. I don't think that there's ever going to be a such thing as true equality between two people ever. I don't even think that such a thing is a possibility. So if you're in a relationship with another person, one person is going to be the dominant head. Why would that person not logically be the person who is physically stronger and the person who has to go and make the bread and make the financial choices for the household? That seems to kind of track and follow. The protector is going to be the person who ultimately is looked at as the leader and the leader of the household. So why shouldn't the woman submit to him?
Here's what I would be interested in hearing is what would you define as
well, can you let her answer real quick?
Oh, sure.
Just real quick.
So I would say like for that, so that's like that. My issue with that is like you don't value my opinion on, like you said, financial decisions, right?
That's not true.
But you said like you're the dominant, like you're the end all be all.
And
so
I think, well, I think you're making a conflation. It's not that. So, for instance, I'm married. I value my wife's opinion, but what if we're having a conflict and I don't agree with her? If I say, look, I don't agree. I think right now it's the time for our family to take risk. And you don't think it's time for our family to take risk. While I value your opinion and your input, ultimately the decision falls on me to make that choice. And so I'm going to lead our family towards risk, let's say, or less risk. Let's say she says, I want to do something which is more risky to our finances. Ultimately, that falls on me to make that choice. There's only going to ever be one person who is the head, whether it's the woman or the man. I just think that it seems to be preferable that the man is the head. Women seem to prefer it, and men seem to prefer it.
So you're saying like if you guys have a disagreement, you're the end decision?
Of course.
That's why I wanted to know how you define submission, because I do have a thought I'd like to share, but I'd like to hear your definition of it first so I know where we're coming from.
I would say it would probably be like at the end of the day, that's like the final.
Like, who has the final
that's
say?
That's the final thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In that sense, real quick, I would just say, like, you can think about it like, just think about like a platonic relationship, though. Like you and your friend. I understand in this scenario, you're not talking about that. But, like, in you and someone you really respect, if you want to think about someone you respect and think about it in that type of way,
Yeah.
I don't understand how you can respect that person and have them always submit to your final decision. How can you still respect that person, though?
Okay.
Why is it?
Well-
Well, that's like. Let me kind of give you an easy counter to this. I have children. I respect my children, but they're going to adhere to my word, whether I respect them or not. If I think that they're doing something, they're fucking up in some way. For instance, let's say they want to put their hand in their fire. I'm not going to respect them enough to let them do that. They're going to respect me instead, and they're not going to put their hand in the fire regardless of what they want. I don't care what they want. They're going to do what they're told because it's for their safety, and that's what's going to happen. What's wrong? Well, what's actually wrong with that? What is the problem with me? Are you saying I don't respect them because I won't let them make decisions which are bad for them?
I think what she's...
Wait, hold on. Actually, let me just devil's advocate this. Yeah, but Andrew, women aren't children.
The thing is, though, is that the whole night we've been hearing about how women are infantilized and they have to shave their body hair so that they could be more like... But that aside, we'll let that go for a second. The point and principle here is not whether or not women are children. I agree that they're not. And I don't infantilize women. I think that they are perfectly capable of making decisions and be held to account for those decisions. But the point still stands that if I see anybody who's fucking up and doing something which is against their own interest, and I'm responsible for their interests, then it falls as a duty to me to step in and do something about that. And that includes my wife, that includes my children, that would include my brother, my sister, anybody who's an extension of my family, wouldn't it?
But how do you trust that you have the best decision on that then?
Trust.
How do you know that you have the best?
It doesn't come down to trust. It comes down to who can. It comes down to who can. And so the thing is that there are those who can and there are those who can't. Ultimately, in a family dynamic, men can do things women can't do, and women can't do very much men can't. And that is the truth. You may not like that truth, but all I would ask you to do to disprove this is tell me a thing which you think that women are going to generally be better at than men inside of a home setting. I'd like to know what that is, but I can name for you many things men are going to generally be much better at than women.
Give birth.
So their primary edict? The thing which I agree is their primary function? Well, you really got me with that one.
I know.
So over
I
here,
handed it
can you
to you.
give me the
She was
example?
trying to be
Can you give
nice
me
to
the
you.
example?
She gave him a layup.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted you to hit, a home run, so to speak.
Yeah, well, that was quite the home run. But anyway, back over to you, Red. I say that because I don't remember names. It's nothing personal. But red
So-
hair. Can you tell me what you think that
Okay.
women are going to be more dominant in the household than men? What they're going to be more
dominant in?
skilled at, better at?
Like in an average sense, if we're talking about like in society, what averagely they would be maybe
Yeah.
excelling in.
Yeah. What are they going to be better at?
Maybe consoling. Maybe consoling children.
Word.
Like maybe I would also I don't know though, because I feel like there's different, I know both circumstances where some women are shut down emotionally towards their children and some men aren't, so there's roles
Sure.
reversed. in certain
Well, I
ways.
guess ultimately we can reduce it to, do you think that women are better at leading households than men? That's the question.
No, I think no.
No. And so, it really comes down to that. Men are better at leading households. And because of that, generally women need to submit.
I got to move it on.
Okay,
I got
but
to move it on.
I have a really
Quick.
big thing
Go
I've
ahead,
been
go
waiting
ahead, go
on.
ahead.
Okay, so basically, if you're going to trust the man to have your best interests at heart and in mind, you better be darn sure before you get into that situation, all right? So don't marry the guy if his character is not the character that you can know beyond the shadow of a doubt
I don't think
that
you
he
can,
would have.
though.
Yes, you can. Give it enough time and you'll see. But the other thing I was going to say earlier is that actually the scriptures, talking about Christianity, the scriptures talk about the wife submitting to her husband as the head of the family and everything, right?
Are you
But
religious?
No.
But I just
I
want
don't think that's going to work on her.
well, I just wanted to tell her this because this is important. It goes to the question she had about submission. And the very next scripture that people don't talk about is it talks about being submissive to each other. It's talking to the same married couple, and the man is supposed to be selfless, give his life for his wife. And that's how committed he is. And the wife is supposed to give respect to her husband and submit to his final say, and then you're supposed to submit to each other. So that goes to what your question was, well, what if she disagrees?
No, you're not supposed to submit to each other.
In that way. Yes, that's what the scripture says.
Yeah,
Submit
what
to one
scripture?
another.
Yeah,
And
what
so-
scripture? No,
It's
I'm not
it's
going to let you back off of this.
in
What
1
scripture do you think it
1
says they should?
Corinthians.
So
It's in
I'm going to read
1
you some
It's in 1
scripture.
Corinthians. So
Yeah,
if
no,
the woman, hang on,
that's
please.
not what it
I'm
says.
still speaking. Hold
And
on.
here, I'm going to
Hold
help
on.
you.
Can,
Yeah, I know you're speaking,
No,
and
you
I'm
can,
speaking to
no,
you.
but you can wait until I made my point, and then you can
on.
correct me,
Andrew,
just
just
like
let-
you
let her
ask
finish.
other
I
people
can
to
correct
do.
you now too.
Just
So
like
when you're
you,
talking about
just like you
submission,
ask
you
other
made a
people
big
to
error
do.
here.
You can give me the same respect
I'm
as what
sorry, are
you've
you
been
supposed to
asking
correct
other
men when it
people.
comes to theology?
Hey,
Are you supposed to correct men when it comes to
I
theology?
am speaking right now. I'm not.
Are
of
you
the same,
supposed to correct
I'm
men
not
when
in-
it comes to
I'm not
theology
going
or
to-
not?
We're not in a church.
I'm
And
sorry,
I am
are you supposed to
speaking-
correct
I am
men when it
speaking
comes to
her.
theology?
I am speaking to her.
Yeah, I
and
know,
you
I'm
can
speaking to
wait
you.